out.
Okay.
For instance, I'll tell you about alcohol. What we
Right.
found was that about 15% of Indians, that means around 15-16 crore people
Right.
in the country, they are current users of alcohol.
Alcohol. And by current users, you
By
mean?
current users, the definition which we used
Right.
is the international definition.
Right.
Consumption even once within past 12 months.
Okay. Okay.
So if you have consumed even once within
Right,
past
right.
12 months, you will be counted as a
Right.
current user of that
Right.
substance. So for alcohol, that figure was about 15%, which though on the surface of it may appear as a very small kind
Yeah.
of figure. But then we are talking of the general population from
Right.
10 to 75-year-old.
Right.
So, and both genders.
Yes.
So across men, women, children, elderly people, about 15% of Indians,
Right.
they are current users of alcohol.
Yeah.
But more importantly, about 5.2% of Indians are affected by alcohol use disorders,
Okay.
which means 1 in every 3 persons
Consuming
who consumes alcohol is consuming it in a pattern that
Yeah.
he needs help. He or
Oh.
she needs help for alcohol use.
About 5 to 6 crore people in the country.
About 5 to 6 crore people. in the
It is a
country.
huge problem.
It is a huge problem, and secondly, this is very different from the global scenario.
Okay.
Globally, the world average of people consuming alcohol is about 50%.
Okay.
Considering many other countries
Right.
where it's fairly common. But the proportion of people consuming alcohol in a problematic pattern,
Right.
alcohol use disorders,
Right.
its global average is also around 5%.
Oh.
So which means overall in the world,
Yeah.
1 out of every 10 person who consumes alcohol has a problem
Has a
with
problem.
alcohol. In India, it's 1 out of every 3.
3, which is very
Which is
high.
something which we also see if you see carefully around us in the society.
Right.
Either people don't drink,
Right.
or those who drink, they may not drink in moderation every day. But whenever they decide to drink,
They drink a lot.
they drink a lot. They drink
Oh.
excessively.
Okay.
You will often, in fact, hear people complaining when they are in that drinking session.
Right.
यार क्या बात है चढ़ नहीं रही. You know?
Yeah,
So the idea is to get drunk.
To get drunk.
You drink to
Okay.
get drunk, and that causes the public health implications of this
Yes.
are far higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for if, simply put, one person consuming one drink every day for 10 days
Yeah.
is a different thing.
Right.
That the same person consuming alcohol only once every 10 days, but 10 drinks on that one
Exactly.
occasion. The health implications are
Yeah.
different.
And what could the health implications be of such dependence?
Right. So what happens with alcohol is that there are two kinds of adverse consequences.
Right.
Some are related to the amount that you gulp down within a short span of time. So if you
In the case of binge drinking.
in something like binge drinking,
Okay.
where people in a short span of time they drink excessively.
Right.
So that time you have acute intoxication, you have gastritis and other kind of physical
Right.
effects, and most importantly in that phase of intoxication,
Right.
then you can meet with accidents, you
Yeah.
can harm yourself, or
Right.
you can engage in some silly behavior
Yeah.
and harm yourself or others.
Others. Right.
And then there are some consequences of alcohol which are dependent upon the absolute amount of alcohol that you have consumed over a long period of time.
Okay.
So if you are excessive alcohol user for
Right.
a very long period of time,
Right.
there certainly are going to be health consequences. In fact, no other substance is as harmful to the human body
As alcohol.
as alcohol.
And have there been any reasons identified for why that problem exists in India, where the dependence or the problematic drinking is so high, about 1 in 3, but it is not in other countries? Is it a cultural thing, or
I suppose a wide variety of factors are responsible for this. Some of the reasons, as you say, are cultural in nature, historical or cultural in nature.
Right.
For a very long time, if you see some of the historical kind of documents also, you will find that in the Western type of society, the European or from those kind of societies, alcohol was part of their ahar. So for them, alcohol was something to be consumed on a regular basis,
Right.
perhaps, but in moderation. For Indians, alcohol has been historically a type of their vihar,
Oh,
krida.
right.
So that means alcohol is something you don't need to consume every day, every occasion.
Right.
You consume it occasionally, but then you do it for the purpose of what we call today as partying, merrymaking,
Right,
enjoying,
right.
having fun.
Right.
and hence perhaps that somehow as a collective
That association of alcohol with a
with
certain type of state of mind.
certain type of state of mind, and then to reach that type of state of mind where you need to feel sufficiently disinhibited
Right.
to be able to enjoy.
Right.
That perhaps could amount for this excessive consumption. Partly, then these are some of the historical, cultural, psychological issues that I talked about. Partly, some of the perhaps our policies are also responsible for it.
Oh, how so?
How so? Because the recommendations from a public health angle about pricing for alcohol products is such that it should usually be more expensive to consume high alcohol concentration beverages as compared to low alcohol concentration beverages. So the idea is that in terms of pure amount of alcohol that you ingest,
Right.
beer should never be more expensive than whiskey.
Oh.
So
Yeah, by volume.
by volume.
Right.
By volume of alcohol.
By
absolute
volume. Because
absolute
whiskey is
alcohol.
about 42%.
About 40-42%, while
And
beers are about
5%.
4 to 8%,
4 to 8%.
depending on premium or
Right,
strong.
right.
So, but in India, the taxation structures are such
Yeah.
that beers are rather expensive.
Yeah.
So it's much more cost effective for people to drink
Right.
the spirits.
Right.
And then those spirits, whenever they are consumed, then there is always the risk of excessive consumption and acute intoxication and so on.
Right.
This is something we also found in our data when we conducted looked at the pattern of drinking at the national level. The maximum consumption is that of either the spirits, what we call as Indian-made foreign liquor,
Right.
largely whiskey,
Right.
and then or the desi sharab,
Right.
which is also a high alcohol
High alcohol.
concentration drink.
Yeah.
As compared to it, the low alcohol concentration beverages like beers, there people consuming them or preferring them is far less. And partly, as I said, the excise and taxation structure. They are
So
possibly
is it
responsible
so
for
the
this.
excise and taxation is same across?
Not same. It's in fact beer turns out to be much more expensive.
Oh,
For
so
people who
there's-
consume alcohol, they
Right.
will often tell you
Yeah.
that a
You have
bottle
to-
of beer
Right.
turns out to be much more expensive
Right.
than the same amount of intoxication that
Right,
you
right.
want from whiskey.